The Torres Strait Islands have celebrated the 80th anniversary of their very first conference of Torres Strait councillors. The 1937 conference was seen as a critical step in Torres Strait Island independence and is remembered as a defining moment for the region. Ryan Little reports.
For Torres Strait Islanders, remembering the first gathering of the region's councillors was cause for celebration. They held a parade down the streets of Mazig or Horn Island and even had a special meeting and ceremony which included the reading of the minutes from the very first meeting. For Torres Shire Mayor Vonda Malone, many of the issues raised then are still relevant now.
The importance of police presence in their community, law and order, and they're things that the council is still pursuing to this day, as well as the island adoption issue. It was really surprising for me to see that issue was raised in 1937, and we're still currently exploring and negotiating with the current government on the legalisation of that and legally recognising island adoption.
Representatives from 14 different communities met 80 years ago to formulate a series of demands, which they would then send to the Queensland government. They called for better services and an end to unpopular regulations.
The other thing was around land rights. I guess land is an important thing for Torres Strait, and they clearly outlined in 1937 that we had systems in place and we recognised and had ownership over our land and the disbursement of that.
TSI Regional Council Mayor Fred Gila paid homage to those that came before him. He praised their endeavours to tackle issues like tribal property rights, working conditions, island taxes and greater autonomy over their affairs.
Those are decisions that are normally made by the Australian and the Australian and the state government. So it was almost like a mini parliament that took place here, and I think that's. When the leaders, our forefathers, sat around the table, they had one vision, and that vision was very clear. That vision was to look at effecting change for the lives of our families here in the Torres Strait at the time of 1937.
Fellow councillors believe it will be up to them and the region's youth to shape the future for the next 80 years.
That's the challenge that they've set for us, that we don't, I suppose I reflect on it today, is like looking at them as the architects, that we've got a foundation that's been laid, and I think that we only reminded how they actually has put their responsibility as architect, that we now the new architect for tomorrow.